Hey y'all, hey, we're back for another review of SISTAS. We're on season 10, episode 11, entitled Three-Sided Circle. So Fatima is still confronting Mr. Keys about hurrying up. Like, sir, hurry up and tell Zach who you are, who he is to you, before I let him know, right? And she tells him, like, basically, like, hey, I overheard your conversation the day before the cookout the day of the cookout before it got started, when you were outside on that phone call, and he's just sitting there trying to hem and haw and whatever. And he tells her, he tries to play dumb at first. He's like, I don't understand what you mean. Like, what are you talking about? And he claims that he hadn't lied. Again, he's trying to back out of it. And now he wants her to give him some extra time. Like, you know, do me this one solid. Let me tell Zach in my own time. Now me, your time's up. You've been around long enough to develop a friendship with this guy. Time's up. Either way, and then she asked him, like, hey, how long have you known that Zach is your son? And before we can get an answer, Zach shows back up before he can spit the answer out, so we don't get a resolve for that. But that's a very legitimate question, because how long have you known Zach is your son? Did you just find out and that's how you ended up bumping into Zach at the gym to become his friend? Or did you know the whole time? Good question. Because after Fatima goes off to work, they're talking, and Zach and Mr. Keys are talking, and he's telling him, like, you know, Fatima was just asking me, like, how long did I know who you were, you know, under the guise of, hey, me being your dad's best friend or whatever. And he was like, yeah, you know, tell me more about Fatima wants me to press you about who my dad is, what kind of person he was. And he was like, you know, I think he was a good man. And Zach was like, how good could he be? He got a son out there and left him with a crackhead. Like, what are we talking about? And he was like, no, you know, she wasn't always like that. And Zach's like, all right, listen, I ain't about to ruin my day. Like, let's move on. So, good question. How long have you known, like, did you know this was your son the whole time when he was living in these squalid situations with his mama? Even if she wasn't always like that, once she became that way, where was your antennas? Good question. Okay, so we see Rich. Rich is what I call an eternal hater. He's gonna forever hate on somebody's situation, even if it applies to him. Case in point. So he's talking to Tony, you know, at the gym talking, and he's feels some kind of way because he wants to know, like, why are you still showing up for Danny? Like, basically, like, why are you simping for Danny? Why are you over there helping her out what's going on? And Tony tells him, listen, that lady has a lot going on. Of course, that's not my business to tell, so I'm not going to get into it. But also, since I'm here, I'm also going to go ahead and admit, like, I still love her. Like, he's like, what are you talking about? Like, didn't you walk in on her with somebody else, and she hates your kids and all these other woes against Danny? And Tony's like, hey, not too much on my girl. Like, sure, but, you know, I also have my own indiscretions. Like, what are we talking about here? And he was like, yeah, but she slept with somebody else. Like, you don't have to be Captain Save-A-Ho. And Tony was like about to get buck with him. Like, all right, let's everybody just calm down. Because weren't you just begging Sabrina to baby please, and she walked in on you with Penelope of all people? Sir, please. Anyway, Tony tells him, like, sir, you know, it's not for you to understand. Don't even worry about it. We will work through what it is that we have to work through, but that's not even on the table right now. So, yeah. So at least Tony is the one. At least Tony got some slither of sense. So Rich is just going to be an eternal hater. Surely. All right. We see Andy, and we see her talking to Fatima at the office, and she sees that something is bothering Fatima. What is happening here? Fatima. So she sees that something is bothering Fatima, and she's like, you know, girl, tell me what's up. And so she ends up having to tell her what she saw about, like, what she knows about Mr. Keys and the dilemma that she's now in, as far as, do I do him this favor and allow him to tell Zach in his own time? Do I go ahead and let Zach know? Because, you know, I feel like I'm lying to Zach when I'm keeping stuff from him. You know, we don't roll like that. So, yeah. And what I don't want is I don't want Zach and Fatima to end up in another dilemma. Like, it's just not been enough time since the last major blowout. I don't feel like dealing with it. So, first of all, Mr. Keys, I don't know you well enough to do you that solid of a solid. So, no, sir, I'm going to go ahead and tell Zach. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you. If he don't know within the next 48, Game on, all right? All right. All right, so we see Danny. She goes to Andy's office to get some insight on about like the POA paperwork for Sabrina and everything that's going on with that. And Andy reminds her, like, listen, the director is right. Like, the limitations that you have is basically just her emergency contact on her work stuff, which means that the board is going to have to make decisions on her behalf. But that's not only limited to like her medical stuff, like her apartment, her bills, all of that stuff is just kind of packing up, like the accident, whatever may come from that. All of that stuff is just kind of piling up, and there's nobody to manage that and rectify that on behalf of our friend. So then I think they're going to go to her apartment a little bit later on to see like what the state of the apartment is, and maybe see if they can find some information on some potential family members, because they don't think she has any siblings. Her mom abandoned her for her grandmother to raise. Her grandmother passed away. Everybody else is like, you know, great aunts, uncles, people that are far removed from her life. Yeah. And so, the part that stuck out with me about that scene is that there are truly people out there like that, like they are in a incapacitated state. And, you know, medical professionals let me know, like, is there really a ethics board that would make these kind of decisions? Because, like, some people, okay, truly removed from their family, truly don't have family members, like, so having like an emergency contact or a point of contact could end up being literally nobody, or you know, somebody removed, like a friend. So you know, what should be in place? How does that make sense? And not only that, now your friends are having to help navigate what you got going on medically, as far as like, and your day-to-day stuff. Like, you know, we don't know if you're behind on your rent, like if that needs to be caught up, because a lot of these places, what I do know is a lot of these places do not have the humane part down. They're just businesses, they're corporations. And girl, if you incapacitated or you're in a coma for 3 months or, you know, 60 days, that stuff piles up. So you get better and you come home to nothing because you were sick. That's wild to me. I don't know the logistics, but I would hate for, you know, somebody that to be somebody's existence, honestly. All right, so we see an irate customer. She comes in, she needs her hair done because Karen had booked her the week prior, unknowingly before she left. And so we got the three owners standing there, and we're like, girl, Karen not here. Karen gone. Karen ain't gonna be back no time soon. But she had no idea that Karen had left. So she's kind of putting up a big fuss. She's going on and on and on about, you know, hey, somebody got to do my hair. Somebody got to do my hair. I need my hair done today. I have a really important event tonight. Somebody do my hair. And so Maurice reluctantly decides, like, okay, girl, I'll take you in my chair. I'll do it. And so the girls are looking like, Maurice, what you got going on? You work at a bank. What's happening? And he's like, you know, looking at that little folder down in the bottom corner. Find out that Maurice is actually a licensed cosmetologist, which, you know, surprise. So he has the knowledge to do so. Now, is it a working knowledge? Is it a practical knowledge that you've used in the nearby future so you can do this lady's hair properly? Well, yeah, we'll just cut to the chase. Yes, he does get her hair done. You know, got her a little middle part bust down, jet black situation. And, you know, she's calmed down. She's feeling better. She says, you know what? Thank you for doing my hair. I apologize for my behavior earlier, but what happened is I didn't know I was going to lose my mom in the time of me booking the appointment and showing up. And tonight is her wake and tomorrow is the funeral. And, you know, I just really needed to have this done. So I really thank you for it. Also, while we're here, you did such a good job. You can go ahead and keep me on the book for every 2 weeks. And Marcy's like, how about no weeks? Because, girl, what? This was just a one-off favor. But, you know, it seems he did such a good job, or there's a emotional tie that she now has to Maurice. Either way, it was nice that, you know, he did that for her, not knowing her situation. Like she said, like, my mama would have risen from the dead, child, if I showed up to her awake looking any old kind of way. So I appreciate it. So Maurice is going to be a stylist now. And of course that's going to be befitting because, sir, he's already very messy and very much in people's business. So that's just going to be, you know, on brand for him. All right. So Andy asked the important questions. She's still talking to Danny about like the POA situation. She was like, girl, do you want to be power of attorney? which is a legit question. It's a legit question because they both kind of are like him and Han, because Danny's like, I'm not sure. Like, I don't even make the best decisions for myself, much less for somebody else's well-being. So what about you, Andy? Like, you a lot more responsible than me, girl. Have you thought about it? And Andy, now she's him and hawing about the situation. And Danny's like, exactly. See, that reaction is what I've been having. Like, it's a lot of decision. Excuse me. I want to make the best decisions for my friend. Like, I don't, this lady's like, future is kind of in my hands. It's a lot to deal with. And like I said, that's why it's a very good question, because I think we assume because you're somebody's parent, sister, friend, child, coworker, like whatever, we think a lot of times we assume because we're in close proximity to people that we automatically don't mind assuming such responsible tasks. I'm trying to be cool, right? Oldest daughter here, oldest granddaughter, all that, all of that stuff. We automatically assume, or especially like if you're somebody like Andy, like you're removed from the family, you got your life a little bit more in order than everybody. Everybody can kind of externally see like your decision making has been wise. We automatically assume, okay, yeah, like you're the family manager now, like you. Or you're the friend girl group manager. You're the person you're the decision maker, which, an honor in itself, but it can be taxing. It can be a lot. It can be expensive. It can be emotionally taxing. There's a lot of things that come with it. So I think it's important to ask people, do they want to take on these tasks before haphazardly assigning them. That's all I wanted to say on that. All right. And so, Andy's like, okay, cool. We'll give you time to think about it, and we'll just let the ethics committee continue making the decisions in the meantime. And even that is kind of a problem, because Danny's like, I understand, like, that's all the option we have right now. But even the ethics committee, like, that doesn't feel fair to Sabrina, because they don't know her. They don't know her thought processes, her decision-making skills. They just, she's a name on a paper, so they can make the best decision, but we know her well. So, catch-22, right? Like, what do you do? What would you do? Let me know what would you do in this situation. Let me tell you what I would do. I would take. I know. She's in a coma. She's ended, and I feel like at this point she's been like that for a couple days. The ethics decision has been making these decisions thus far. Leave it that way for maybe a couple more days. In those couple more days, you will exhaust all efforts to locate somebody in her family, right? You will talk to that person. If that person has no knowledge of who Sabrina is, it is now my tasking. And I say that because they have been friends since college. So let's just say 10, 15 plus years. And you've been with this lady since college, same neighborhood, same street, same decision-making processes for that amount of time. I feel like I got a better grasp. I could probably tell you, all my best friends, I can tell you probably how they want their end-of-life arrangements, everything that should go on, where the kids go. Like, I can tell you all of that. Now, there's probably some, other family members that cannot. So, and that's not a flex. That's just by proximity, by relationship, by design, right? Make every attempt to find somebody, because if this goes further south and she does not make it, what death is going to do is it brings out the absolute worst in everybody, because everybody is looking for somebody to blame, to place that on their shoulders about, to absolve their inaction or their unavailability as well, because, let's just say she got along with her sister she ain't seen in 25 years because they fell out about a popsicle in, 1989. If Sabrina expires, knock on wood, this is how that's going to go. Oh, well, that was my sister and you should have let me make the decision, but where were your antennas in the 15 years that I've known her, hypothetically speaking, right? I've never seen, never heard of you, so you can't be too upset about it, right? Right. So, you can be, but down my cross to bear. All right, so anyway, what would I do? Make the effort, take a couple more days, take half of that day to just process it and think about it, because I can't be in my emotions long enough that this lady just kind of sits in limbo. Don't really work for me that way. That's not how I'm wired. Process it, do what I gotta do, half cup shots, move on. Get into the throes of trying to locate a family member, establish that family member's connection to Sabrina. And I'm not talking about money grab. I'm not talking about all this other stuff. Can I pick up a sense that you have a vested interest in Sabrina's well-doing? If I don't feel good about it, let's take it to the court. Let the court make the decision. If it's you, I did what I could. If it's me, yeah, not game on, but okay, now I know. I can legally step in and jump into action and do what needs to be done for my girl. That's me. But what would you do? All right. So, Andy switches gears. She's like, girl, are you okay? Like, you still on the tail end of everything that went down? Like, how you feeling? And then she outright just asked Danny, like, girl, who did it? Who did it? Let's go to the police. Like, that's what Andy with it. She's at the point where, as long as you okay, cool, now police. So she knows, Andy tells Danny that she knows that Sabrina was her trusted confidant. Like, in the friend girl groups, some people glean naturally to others. That's how, humans work. I know that Sabrina was your most trusted confidant, as Karen was mine, and they're both kind of, not in proximity, and we all we got. Like, CMB, we all we got, girl. Like, and despite our differences and despite our differences in countenance and temperaments, I'm still here for you. Like, I'm still ride or die, girl. We still locked in. I'm still here with you, just so you remember that. Okay, we see Cheyenne Child when she's chilling at Andy's house. Still don't have a confirmed job just yet. And her mama's calling to check on her. And she's like, yeah, girl, I'm good. Whatever. In the meantime, we see Cheyenne pouring up some, I don't know, I call it scissor, above a particular age. But lean, promethazine, Sprite, an illicit drink, right? And we see her pouring it up. And she is so eager to get to the drink, child. She kind of hurries her mama off the phone, like pretend somebody else is calling her, just so she could sit back and enjoy her cup of promethazine and Sprite. So Cheyenne, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. I don't know how many more seasons of this we got, but it's gonna be a bumpy ride when it comes to Cheyenne. We saw her snorting the white powder, right? And now we see her drinking lean. And somebody's on your trail. The voicemails tells me that somebody's on your trail. I don't know whose money you stole or, who you set up, what really went on with that, but somebody's on your trail. All of this, and you living at your sister's house. And you just got arrested for indecent exposure. It's too much. It's going to come to a head at some point, and we'll have to deal with all of that, of course. Andy will have to deal with it, surely. But yeah. So Cheyenne's coming with a lot of problems, and I'm not looking forward to it. All right. So Danny invites the girls over to her house so that they can talk. Turns out she's taking Creisha's advice and giving them the full truth, or as much truth as she's comfortable giving, so that will allow them to be able to kind of fully support her in the way that they can with all the information they got. And she tells them, like, listen, the attack, it unlocked some stuff in me. It brought some stuff to the surface. It kind of flooded my mind with, my previous attack with the other dude shit with the car, and somebody that attacked her in college. Like, all of that just came bubbling up to the surface, and that stuff was lying dormant, and she had no idea. She couldn't really be, and she does admit that she could not be honest with them because she hadn't even been honest with herself about the situations. She's kind of buried it and coped with it, but not actually dealt with it. And this third attack kind of brought all of it up. That's why this attack is so much more critical than the others, honestly. And, they understand, they empathize, they sympathize with her. But they still want her to go to the police about it. Like, we understand, we're here with you. We can go to the police. And she's like, I'm not doing it. She doesn't want to be made to feel like she deserved it. You know how that goes for women, right? What did you have on? How did you look at him? Did you smile? Did you speak? Did you give him the number you asked for? Did you talk about his mama? Did you do this? Did you wink? Did you blink? Did you cough? Did you breathe? Did you exist? Were you born? All of those things, right? She was like, listen, I don't want to be made out to be at fault instead of holding this man accountable. I don't want to be made to feel worse than I already feel. I don't want to have to recount the stuff. Like, I just don't want to deal with the whole rigmarole of the situation. And again, understandable, because we know how this goes. Either way, they are speaking, and there's a knock at the door. Mind you, when Andy showed up, Danny still has this jumping thing, this post-traumatic response where she jumps when people knock on the door. So she's like, hey, who is it? Cool. Andy gets there, knock on the door. It's Fatima. Andy opens the door without asking who it is. And girl, I don't see no peephole. And Dana's like, girl, you're not going to ask who it is first? She's like, I know it's Fatima. I expect her. So this third knock was kind of in that same vein of, okay, we ain't even going to ask. We know it's somebody else showing up. My thing is, everybody that was invited is here. Why are we opening the door haphazardly? Whatever. So Fatima opens the door, and it's doctor. I'm not doctor. I'm sorry. It's officer. It's officer offender at this point. And he's just standing there looking stupid. And of course that's how the episode ends. So we're gonna see next week where they're gonna put two and two together and see that was the officer. And of course we're gonna put it together because Andy knows officer too, because he was flirting with her, and it could have very well been you. So we finna go on the campaign at this point. Because remember, he was gunning for both of them, just I guess to see who would do what he wanted the soonest, whatever. Yeah. So that's how the episode ends. Let me know what y'all think about it. I will add in here if you stay to the end. Thanks for being here. But there will not be an episode next week. As I always say, if I miss a week, there are tons of other awesome, beautiful creators that will cover it. So, in the meantime, just watch the show. You can annotate here what you think about next week's episode if you'd like. But I will be on a cruise ship, girl, and I'm not dragging this laptop in this camera situation. I'm not paying all that Wi-Fi because y'all ain't got me enough subscribers to get monetized yet. So, whatever. Okay, I'm just joking. Or am I? Yeah. So there won't be an episode next week. So hope you guys are not too disappointed. Anyway, yeah, so that's been this week's episode. I hate that I'm going to miss next week. Of course, I'm going to watch it when I get back home. But because I'm looking forward to seeing them figure out that it's the officer and now having more information that Danny wasn't able to come off of. Now, what I do hope they don't do is like just go on again around her wishes too far on the situation, even though they figured out who it is. So, yeah. Either way, that's been the episode. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. We'll talk about it there. Yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.